Hello! Hey, how you doing? It's me, Nick Digilio. How are you? Hope you're well. Thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. I'll learn to speak at some point. It's early, man. It's real early. I slept kind of all screwy, so it's like I'm looking at my oven clock, and it's on the clock there. It says 5:24 a.m. So it's a little early. So I'm allowed to go blah 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 instead of speaking, human being English. Hello. My name is Nick Digilio. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. Hope you're checking out me on the Patreon channel as well. You can donate some dough there because all these videos and all the reviews, all the stuff that I do on my podcast, all the stuff that I do on the radio, all the reviews that I give you and the entertainment that I provide, it's all free. So it'd be really cool if you donated some dough at my Patreon page. It's real easy, $3, $6, $25 a month, whatever you want to do. Helps out a lot. So please, if you can donate, please do. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Please donate what you can when you can. Thank you. You can hear my podcasts on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. The Nick D Podcast, which is a pop culture entertainment podcast consisting of movie reviews and TV reviews and all kinds of stuff in the world of entertainment. I also have just great discussions with my partner, Esmeralda Leon. It's fantastic, amazing guests, really cool stuff. Tuesdays and Fridays, brand new episode, The Nick D Podcast. Everywhere you get your podcasts, every single platform. RadioMisfits.com. Also, I have a podcast about Saturday Night Live that you should check out. And if you're a fan of Saturday Night Live, you should really subscribe. I do a lot of hard work on it, and I'm really proud of it, and I love it. I'm a big maniac Saturday Night Live fan, going all the way back to the very first episode in 1975. So that's called That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years, an SNL podcast, also on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Every Wednesday, brand new episode drops on every single platform at RadioMisfits.com. So check out my entertainment and pop culture podcast, the Nick D podcast, and my SNL podcast. That show hasn't been funny in years. Available everywhere. You can hear me on Fridays on the Steve Cochran Morning Drive Show here in Chicago on WLS AM 890. The best morning show in the world, and I'm proud to be the film critic officially for the Steve Cochran Show on WLS AM 890. You can hear me reviewing all the new movies right there. And you can check me out on these videos and all kinds of cool stuff. So, I haven't done a video in a while, but I wanted to talk about a specific movie that is opening. Today is Wednesday morning. It opens technically tomorrow night, Thursday night. In forever, movies have opened on Friday. It's like, I used to remember when I was a kid, I used to grab the newspaper every Friday, go right to the movie section, which used to be like 12, 14 pages long, in the newspaper, with all the ads for the movies and then the individual ads for each movie theater where you can see where it was playing and all kinds of cool stuff, and if there was a double feature. And then there'd be movie reviews by your favorite critics and stuff like that. It was a morning ritual for me every Friday morning. I would wake up and I would grab that entertainment segment and I would read all the reviews and look at all the ads and stuff like that, and sometimes, study them. I'm a dork. But anyway, that was a big deal for me. Every Friday morning was a big deal because new movies opened. Well, that continues. New movies do open on Friday. But basically, we could just, can't we just say they open on Thursday now? Can't we just say that? Because it's always like, there's a preview on Thursday night, but they officially open on Friday. And they count the box office receipts for Thursday night. So basically, at this point, the movies open on Thursday. I know it's not quite as sexy a day. Because Friday, movies open on Friday. Friday, hey, thank God it's Friday. You know what I mean? You can't argue with Donna Summer. So, wait, Donna Summer didn't sing that. Well, she's in Thank God It's Friday. So that's why you can't argue with her. She's Donna Summer. What the fuck? You're going to argue with Donna Summer? Fuck off. Anyway, so, listen, it's 5:27 now in the morning. Just keep that in mind when you're watching this ugly weirdo talking to you. It's 5:37 in the morning. Anyway, so Friday is it's like, it's Friday, ooh. But they open on Thursday now. So anyway, there's a movie opening on Thursday, or if you want to be sexy, like Donna Summer, Friday, that I wanted to take the moment to talk about. And this is a movie that I think everybody who is watching this video right now must see. And I've talked about it since May, because I saw this movie last May, just this past May, not last May, a year ago, just this past May. It's 5:38. It's 5:28, by the way. It's not even 5:30. I'm serious. Anyway, I swear to God I haven't been drinking. I swear to you. I have not fallen off the wagon. I'm still sober. Anyway, so I saw the movie in May at the Chicago Critics Film Festival at the Music Box Theater as part of that big week-long festival. And it was programmed by my friends, and they saw this movie, and they were like, Nick, we're showing a bunch of movies at the festival this week, but this one, you're specifically gonna like this movie. because it's fucking weird and it's right up your alley and you're a weirdo and you're up at 5:28 talking to a phone hoping that somebody will watch it and then donate money to you. That's fucking weird. That's weird. Anyway, you'll like this movie is what those are the exact words, by the way. They knew I was going to be up at 5:28 4 months ago. 4 months ago? May, July, June, July. Oh, yeah, 4 months ago. And they knew I was going to be up. I'm so fucking sleep deprived right now. They knew I was going to be up. And they were like, hey, you're going to like this movie that you'll be talking about in August when it opens. All right. Anyway, I saw this movie at the Chicago Critics Film Festival just this past May, and I thought it was amazing. Stunning. One of my favorite movies of the year. It will be, at the end of the year, it will be near, if not at the top, very, very near the top of the list of the best movies of 2023. And I've been waiting for this thing to get a release, because I was told in May when I saw it that the movie was going to get a release in August, and it was also going to play on Shudder. Fantastic horror streaming service that you can get, and if you don't subscribe, you should. And so I've been waiting patiently for this thing to come out. So in between that, and the director of the movie was also at the festival. And after I saw the movie, I basically cornered them. I ran up to them and I was like, listen, I loved your movie. Jesus, did I love your movie? And I was like, you have to do my podcast. And so in between that time when I talked to them at the the premiere of the movie and at the festival, there are now been two strikes. First, there was a writer's strike, and then there was an actor's strike. And this person is a writer, so they are on strike, and they've been on strike since that beginning. And so it's been hard to talk about the movie. You can't publicize it. I wanted to do a deal with my buddies at Flashback Weekend where I showed the trailer of the movie and then gave away passes to people because I want to generate some buzz about this movie because it's so fucking great. And then the strike prevented advertisement. It was just difficult to try and organize anything to promote this movie because it's a horror film at the Flashback convention, and the strike prevented all of that. But I did yesterday, 2 days ago, I interviewed the co-writer and director of this film. Their name is Laura Moss, and the interview was magnificent. It was great. We got along magnificently. It was entertaining. They were even better and funnier and more awesome than I thought they would be. And I loved it. It's one of my favorite interviews that I've done for the podcast, and promoting a movie that I think is very, very special, and that they are a remarkably talented writer and a great director. I could not be more thrilled for people to fucking see this movie. So if you want to check out the podcast, it is episode 168 of the Nick D podcast with a full interview with Laura Moss. That's their name. And they are the co-writer and the director of a film called Birth, Rebirth. And that's what I'm talking to you about. It opens in limited run on Thursday night preview and then officially Friday. And it'll be playing in some theaters. I'm recording from the Chicago area if you're watching it someplace else. And I'm going to give you the specific theaters that it will be playing at starting on Thursday, starting tomorrow night. And it'll be playing for a week. And I will give you the specific theaters. If you want showtimes, fucking call me. I'll give you the show. I'll be like Movie Phone. Yes, thank you for calling Movie Phone. You have chosen Birth, Rebirth, because there is no other option. You could press 1, you could press 2, you could press 9. Doesn't matter what you press. You're going to get showtimes for Birth, Rebirth. So don't expect to get showtimes for Gran Turismo or whatever other piece of shit is in the theaters right now. By the way, Gran Turismo, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Anyway, Birth, Rebirth. Let me tell you about this movie. If you are a horror fan, if you are a fan of thoughtful, intelligent, body horror kind of thing, very Cronenberg-esque kind of thing. If you're also a fan of black comedy, there's a lot of black comedy in this movie. And at its core, it really has a lot of black comedy. Although there are some serious issues, some great statements made about it, and it's also effective in a very, very creepy, horrific way. If you're a fan of Frankenstein, it's got that going in it too. On every level, if you're a horror fan, a black comedy fan, or just a human fan interested in movies that are about something, this movie hits all the great points. Birth, Rebirth, and it stars Judy Reyes, who was in Scrubs, and it stars Marin Ireland, who is a fantastic actress. And in it, Marin Ireland plays this very antisocial morgue technician who is obsessed with death and reanimating the body and trying to. She's kind of a Dr. Frankenstein of that time. And she wants to reanimate. She's trying to take dead things and reanimate them and bring them back to life. Very Baron Frankenstein-esque, very Dr. Frankenstein-esque. She does experiments on different animals, including a pig, a potbelly pig. And she works in the morgue at a hospital, isolates herself from everybody else, but is obsessed with that, obsessed with her body, obsessed with the birthing process, obsessed with the fact that you can create life. Not necessarily in the way that you want, that she doesn't want to necessarily create it in the way that you are expected to by, you know, giving birth as a woman. This is a woman who wants to explore the world of the body, but doesn't want to be a part of it, and wants to bring life to dead, inanimate bodies. So she does so. Along comes Judy Reyes, who is a nurse who has a young daughter, a very young daughter, and the daughter passes away and ends up at the morgue in this hospital where Marin Ireland works. Marin Ireland takes the body and begins experimenting on it to bring it back to life, a la Frankenstein. So the movie is about a morgue technician and a nurse whose daughter has died, and how they unwittingly become partners in keeping this reanimated body alive. This very young little girl, 4 years oldish, they keep her alive. And that's what it's about. So it's got Frankenstein issues in it, it's got body reanimation, it's got very, very important and interesting statements about motherhood and birthing, about your body, about what it takes to be a mother. And it covers a lot of really fascinating and interesting ground. And on top of that, it's creepy as shit. It's scary. It's also very funny. And it features some of the best performances you'll see in a movie this year. Marin Ireland as the morgue technician who has to do some really crazy shit in order to keep this little girl alive, which involves pregnant women and needing some DNA and all kinds of other stuff. She also does some very crazy stuff with men in order to experiment with birthing and creating life. And then Judy Reyes, who plays the mother, the mourning mother, who is just thrilled that in some weird capacity, she's absolutely thrilled that her daughter, her dead daughter, is back to life, and is thrust into this relationship, a non-sexual relationship, with basically keeping a human being alive, which is what this movie is at its core. It's about. It's about motherhood. It's about what it takes to create life. It's about what it takes to sustain life. And it works on a very complicated level with incredible performances. There's a lot of stuff to chew on in this movie. And there are a lot of incredible ideas that are new to the genre and completely classic. I mean, this thing goes right back to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And the writer, the co-writer, along with Brendan J. O'Brien, who wrote it with Laura Moss, they really throw in some incredible details and fascinating ideas about what it is to be alive, what it is to grieve. But mostly it's about that desire to create life. And in the way we're supposed to create life is uncertain, and if you're not certain about your body, if you don't know whether or not you want to have children, if you don't know, especially from a female point of view, whether or not you want to experience birthing or motherhood, but you would like to create life and sustain life, that's what this movie's about. And it works on a million levels, and it says so much about the relationship between these two main characters that's non-sexual, but they're combined in order to keep life going. It's a fascinating movie, and it's creepy and scary, and on the simplest of levels, it's fucking funny as hell. Like, there's a lot of black comedy in it. If you are a fan of great filmmakers like David Cronenberg, and there's a little John Carpenter in here, there's even a little Monty Python kind of stuff in here too. So it's like a combination of Mary Shelley, David Cronenberg, and Monty Python. And those three things are all amazing, and those three things all shouldn't work together. But they do, and they do magnificently in this movie, which is very entertaining. It's beautifully shot. Most of the crew was female, the editor, the DP, a lot of people that worked on special effects. It's a very female-driven film, directed by Laura Moss, who is non-binary, and all of that really plays into effect to what the movie's really about, and the themes that it covers, and the urgency with which Laura made this movie. There's a lot to be said in this movie and a lot she wants to say. It's a lot of important stuff, but also scary as fuck and entertaining as hell and funny as hell and great performances. Marin and Judy are unbelievable in this movie, and AJ Lister, who plays the little reanimated girl, is incredible. There's also an incredible performance by a potbelly pig in it who comes back to life, and there's creepy body horror kind of shit that reminds you of Dead Ringers. And again, sort of like really black comedy that sort of has the same tone as like really dark comedy stuff that you've seen before. It's got a lot of David Lynch in it. It's got the style and the shooting style of like John Carpenter. The influences are all here. The influences are all great. And the result is one of the very best movies of the year. If you are a horror fan, you should see Birth, Rebirth. If you are interested in movies about human condition and about your body, you should see Birth, Rebirth. If you want to laugh at some really dark, twisted, really fucked up shit, you should see Birth, Rebirth. If you just want to witness some of the best performances and some of the most incredible, skillful directing and filmmaking that you will see all year, you should see Birth, Rebirth. Basically, if you are watching this right now, you should see Birth, Rebirth. It's a little film, okay? It's a low-budget movie. It premiered at our festival, the Chicago Critics Film Festival, in May. Shudder put the money up behind it. IFC is releasing it theatrically, and it will have a window where it will be streaming on Shudder. But you should go out and see it in the theater. The Shudder premiere is TBA, so they don't know exactly when it's going to happen. So you should get your ass out to the theaters to see it. This is an important movie. It's a great horror movie. It's just great on every level. It's just one of these movies, when I watched it, I was like, okay, this is a remarkable piece of cinema. This is made by an incredibly gifted and prodigiously talented director, who is also a great writer. This is a feature film debut. This is Laura Moss's feature film. They made some shorts, one of which actually played at the Chicago Critics Film Festival a few years ago, called Friday. But this is their first feature-length film, and this is really, truly one of the best feature film directing debuts I've ever seen. It is the announcement of a major, major artist, of a major filmmaker, of a director with enormous amounts of talent. This is their first feature, and it marks the beginning of what I think is going to be an incredible and important career. So mark it down. The director's name is Laura Moss. They co-wrote it with Brendan J. O'Brien. This is their first feature, and it's called Birth, Rebirth. A great, great horror movie, and just in general, a great movie. Just in general, just a great piece of cinema. Now, it's getting a very small and brief theatrical release. And I'm telling you right now, if you're in the Chicago area, these are the theaters where it's playing. And I expect everyone to watch this who's in the Chicago area to get your ass out and go to the theater to see it. Because this is a beautifully shot movie. It's wonderful to see on the big screen. I saw it on the big screen at the Music Box Theater, and it was one of my favorite movie-going experiences of the year. It's visually stunning. It's beautiful to look at. The sound design, the sound mix is great. The score, everything about this movie is cinematic and beautiful and meant to see on the big screen. So get your ass out to the theater this week and see it. And I'm telling you the theaters right now. I will be telling you right now the theaters that you should go to see Birth, Rebirth. It is playing at the AMC Village Crossing 18 in Skokie, a great theater. I've been there a million times. It's playing there. AMC Village Crossing in Skokie. I can tell you this, 11:30, 2:05, 4:40, 7:05, and 9:35 on give or take a couple of showtimes, but that's basically daily when it's playing. It's also playing at the AMC Cicero 14 on Cermak in Cicero. Noon, 2:35 p.m., 7:30, and 10:20 p.m. It's playing at the AMC Ford City 14 on South Cicero Avenue in Chicago. And it's playing there at 3:10, 5:40, 8:10, and 10:40. It's playing at the AMC Dine-In Yorktown in the big Yorktown Shopping Center in Lombard. 1:10, 3:50, 6:40, 9:20. And it's playing at AMC Streets of Woodfield in Schaumburg, Illinois, right by the Woodfield Mall. So it's playing in those places. At the Streets of Woodfield, it's playing at 11:40, 2:10, 4:40, 7:10, and 9:40. Give or take a couple of showtimes, give or take the day. But those are the theaters it's playing in, and it's playing in different parts of the still it's playing in the city. It's playing in different parts of the suburbs, different sides of the suburbs, north, west, whatever. The AMC Village Crossing 18 in Skokie, AMC Cicero 14 in Cicero, AMC Ford City 14 in Chicago on the south side, the Dine-In Yorktown in Lombard, and the Streets of Woodfield in Schaumburg. Those are the theaters it's playing at. It's called Birth, Rebirth. It is one of the very best movies of the year. Number one. Seriously, you follow me, you watch my stuff. You know I'm a horror film fan. I know I have a lot of people in my tribe, in my horror film tribe, that are out there right now. You're a horror film fan, this should be #1 on your list for what you should see in a movie theater starting tomorrow morning. Okay? Horror film fans, I want you to come out in droves. I want you to support Laura Moss and their unbelievably brilliant and incredible movie, Birth, Rebirth. It's a game changer. And again, you know, I'll just very quickly. Do you like Frankenstein? Yeah. You like Mary Shelley? Okay. You like Dead Ringers? You like David Cronenberg? Okay. You like Monty Python? You like dark comedy? You like Meaning of Life? You like that kind of stuff that explores those kind of issues? Okay. And it's as good as all of that stuff. So, a film debut of incredible promise. A film debut, directorial debut of a feature that is one of the best movies I've seen all year, and one of the best horror movies I've seen in years. It's called Birth, Rebirth. Birth/Rebirth. Now, it will be on Shudder, so you can watch it streaming on Shudder if you're a lazy ass and you don't want to do what you should do, which is get in your car and go to a movie and see it. Then it'll be on Shudder. But when you see it, spread the word. Go on social media and spread the word. Let everybody know. I'm going to shout from the rooftops about this movie. I mean, I just gave you the showtimes and every movie theater that is playing in the Chicagoland area. That's how much I love this movie. That's how much I want you to see it, especially if you're a horror fan or if you're a fan of challenging movies and funny black comedies. Get your ass out to the theaters this week and see Birth, Rebirth. Okay? All right. And also listen to the podcast where I interview Laura, because they are incredibly funny and incredibly charming. And by the way, they're going to be a regular on my podcast. We got along famously. So anyway, Birth, Rebirth. It's playing in theaters like the Streets of Woodfield, the Dine-In Yorktown 18, Ford City, Cicero 14, and Village Crossing. And they'll probably be playing for a week, and then at some point it'll pop up on Shudder. But it's one of the very best movies of the year, one of the best horror films I've seen in a very, very long time. It's called Birth, Rebirth. Get your ass to the theater and see it. Do yourself a favor. It's going to be, and I hope a ton of people come out to see it. So, and again, once you see it, I know you'll love it, especially to my horror tribe out there, spread the word. Get out on social media. Get out on the internet. Call your friends. Tell your friends. Gather parties together and get your ass out to the theater to see Birth, Rebirth. You will not regret it at all. Okay? All right. Yeah, I know I went a little long and I went a little crazy here, but I think this is a very important piece of work, and I want people to see it. So please check out Birth, Rebirth, a great movie. All right. Thank you.